Hi! So today we will be talking about musicals. So, the first thing I want to say about musicals is that it really played a big part in cinematic history, and it really first started in like the 1930s. And this was mainly because the world was in really serious like economic turmoil and political instability. So, and this of course was during the Great Depression. So, just to give you a little more background. So, musicals in particular, provided a really great escape from reality for a lot of people watching the movies. So, that's why it was really popular. This was really known as the classical period, also known as classical Hollywood narratives, or like the golden age of Hollywood. And this really took place between around 1927 and towards 1969. The best way to really describe like the classical period and all of its like specifics of why it's considered what makes a movie part of the classical period, it's mainly defined by devices, systems, and relations of systems. So devices is the most inherent classical Hollywood cinema, is continuity of editing. And this really plays towards the 180-degree rule and 30-degree rule, which helps establish or maintain continuity. Examples of this would be axial cut, which establishes concurrence of action in different locations, and jump cuts, which doesn't change the shooting angle, but it has a clear purpose of showing like perspective, which is moving like closer and farther away from the subject. So systems, after devices is systems, there's two types of systems. One type of system is narrative logic, and this is basically the progression of like the will of the characters. And this is really defined by their goals and like the struggles towards their goals. And in classical Hollywood cinema, the characters have very clear, definable traits, and they're very active and very, very goal oriented. And they make a lot of their decisions based off of like their own goals and their psychology instead of towards social concerns. The second type of system is cinematic time and space. Time in classical Hollywood cinema is very continuous, linear, and very uniform. It really calls attention to the illusory workings, where the only time manipulation would be flashbacks. That would be like the only thing that would be approvable for messing up with the time continuum. The treatment of space consists mainly on centering, which is putting the main focus like in the center of the screen. Balancing, which is usually like evenly distributing everything around the screen. Frontality, which is like using lighting to bring things forward. And then depth, and a lot of costumes around this time will create that depth that we're looking for to separate the characters or what we're wanting to bring our attention to the foreground and not have it blend into the background. And our last defined part of the classical period is a relation of systems, and that's basically how the time and space work together to help push forward that narrative element. So they use time and space to really help progress the story forward. So basically that really just leads us into the movie that I watched and I would like for y'all to watch. So the movie for this week is La La Land by Damien Chazelle. And all of that is important. Everything that we went back through is very important because La La Land is considered to be the embodiment of all musicals, and has a lot of influences from that time and a lot of the musicals from that time as well. So you can see a lot of things from past musicals during this classical period be brought into this the early 2010 movie. One director, Busby Berkeley, he's an American film director and musical choreographer. He directed 22nd Street and Gold Diggers of 1933, and they are both very iconic for their extraordinary dance sequences defined by like this sheer size and scale of the scenes, which really help optimize the camera usage to capture them. And this is important because in La La Land, you can see it from the very, very like first scene too. The very first scene is very extravagant. It's really large. I don't know if I should spoil this. But essentially it's a really, really big scene that would have been really, really hard to capture on like a theatrical sense, like in a theater. And that's what really set apart like the musical films from their theatrical counterparts. Another director, Jacques Demy, a French director, lyricist, and screenwriter, he drew on the aesthetics of Hollywood musicals a lot, but he was also informed by like the love of jazz, which is also kind of important because it plays a big part in the movie of La La Land. Jazz is a very interesting notion, so if y'all want to keep an eye out for that, that would be interesting too, to like see those similarities. But Demy's films were really characterized by like their very, very bright candy-like colors, as well as like an intense sad romantic tone with crossovers between a dream world and a reality world. And of course, like it always has like a very, very reoccurring theme throughout the entire movie. And La La Land actually took a very, very like great influence from one of Demy's musicals, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. And if you want to keep an eye out for that too in the movie, that would be really interesting because you can contrast and see like how the colors really make everything pop, like the really bright candy colors that are in La La Land. You can see that it really makes everything really pop. And there's a very, very reoccurring really reoccurring theme, and that theme is basically working towards one's dreams, trying to achieve one's dreams. Another really thing that I found that was really, really interesting was, of course, we should know that Ryan Gosling is in this movie, and he actually learned how to play the piano just for this movie. And he learned how to play the piano in 3 months for the whole movie, so his piano playing is very authentic in the movie. The film also includes parts of Gosling's life. So one thing to really note is like how it really does portray like Hollywood's theme, like how Hollywood is now, how the movie industry is. Because in this movie, one of the dreams of one of the characters is to become an actor or actress. And Chazelle, he really put that in there. He really took like Gosling's life and then he actually put it in the movie, which I thought was really, really interesting. So you can keep an eye out for that too. And the movie was actually filmed in the streets of LA, which is really cool. I thought it was really cool. And I really just wanted us to really take note of like the colors and everything. And then the ending is very controversial. And I just really want you to think about how the ending plays as you look in like the background of what I gave you earlier, and how what you would think would be a better ending and why, which one is a better ending. And and really just how the soundtrack and the extravagance of the musical numbers really add to the narrative and the storytelling. Well, I hope you enjoyed the movie.